Dear Jessica L. Hagan and Jessica Calaisia, Rachel Clark, Jacob Williams, Coco Kwaku, and Veronica Lewis, I have been asked to write a legacy letter to a woman theatre practitioner whose work has been important to me. I have struggled with this task because the idea of choosing just one out of a long, long list of women artists, both historical and contemporary, whose work has inspired, moved, provoked, and educated me during my lifetime seems almost impossible. So rather than focus on the past, I've decided to interpret the notion of legacy in relation to emerging practitioners, whose work I hope might become part of the historical record as having shaped theatre yet to come. I saw your first stage play, Queens of Sheba, at the Edinburgh Festival in 2018. Your introductory notes to the scripts published underlined that every stage of the process of creation and production was a profoundly and widely collaborative one. I think this just showed in the quality of your work, and it is the reason why I'm addressing this letter not just to you, but to the play's director, Jessica Kay, and to Rachel, Jacoba Koku, and Veronica, whose stunning, tight-knit ensemble performance of your spoken word script exploded the confines of one of the smallest stages I have ever seen. I also have in mind all those others you have listed as having contributed and supported this project, especially those who shared their experiences of the micro and sometimes macro aggressions endured by British black women as a result of what, quoting Moira Bradley in 2010, you term as misogynoir. You say that you and Jessica Kay wanted to create a piece of theatre for black women by black women, and I suspect I was not the only one of the majority white audience at the Edinburgh show who didn't get all the jokes and references. Yet I doubt anybody could miss the integrity, passion, and I dare say it, the sense of truth that ran like a bell through all aspects of the production. The theatres on stage share stories of the everyday effects of the intersection of racism and sexism on black women's lives, in a manner that is not only full of wit and humour, but also with mounting pain and grief at the slights and betrayals they encounter. But ultimately, the show is a refusal of victimhood and a celebration of strength, the solidarity and the friendships that have enabled black women to maintain their pride and self-worth in the face of a long history of denigration and oppression. At the end of the show in Edinburgh, there was one of those rare silences held by the audiences as we applauded. I like to think this pause was a recognition of the power of the performance, but also an acknowledgement that from those of us who would wish to be allies, that this show required a response that was not necessarily without emotional empathy, but was above all respectful of what we had seen and heard. Queens of Sheba toured the UK in 2019, but I can't find much information about what you and the others have done since then. Like all British institutions, theatre is far from being a misogynoir-free zone. And at this point in time, the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic mean that live performances are on hold. When the recovery begins, I hope that your talent, combined with the resilience you wrote about so passionately in Queen of Sheba, will enable you to find much bigger stages, and so help to create a new and more vital theatre that finally shows the imagination to be genuinely open